Stephen Thompson versus Anthony Pettis. Now, what really happened in this fight? This was a shocking finish to a fight that seemed to go how many fans thought the fight would go, and that is Stephen Thompson sticking at a range and just taking control of the long-range striking bout. And we thought it was going to be a karate versus taekwondo matchup, but it was more of karate versus Muay Thai, where Anthony Pettis came out there plotting a little bit more, walking forward, marching and taking no steps back, limiting the space that Wonderboy was able to use, and able to set up kicks, specifically leg kicks. If Pettis is moving backwards, he's not able to throw kicks that efficiently. He needs to move forward a little bit and chop down the movement of Wonderboy. And man, did he land a lot of leg kicks, especially on the left leg of Wonderboy. Even if Wonderboy was taking southpaw, he would constantly switch to orthodox and just eat the kick on his left leg. It looked like potentially he was trying to move away with the upper body a little bit more, but his legs were just getting chopped. And Wonderboy's long stance naturally doesn't allow him to check kicks that well. And even if Wonderboy is throwing kicks at Pettis is answering back with his own leg kicks, making Wonderboy pay at every turn. And because of all the damage he took on his left leg, you saw Wonderboy go into southpaw a lot more than orthodox, even though Wonderboy wanted to stay in orthodox and move in with a lot of jabs and get out. But Pettis was just answering with those right leg kicks that it caused Wonderboy to take the southpaw stance a lot more and then start utilizing his side kicks more and his left straights. His left straights are finding home a lot more because Pettis is in the opposite stance. Wonderboy could just take the outside foot advantage and land that left straight down the center, or you could just keep distance with the side kicks. But the side kick at the end of the day is what caused Wonderboy's demise. And the fact that Pettis kept throwing leg kicks and connecting on the left leg of Wonderboy ultimately forced him to stay in that southpaw stance, which he loves to always use side kicks in. He doesn't usually use side kicks in orthodox, almost always in southpaw. This caused Wonderboy to stay in the southpaw stance eventually long enough until the knockout happened. And because he's in southpaw and Anthony Pettis is in orthodox, that right hand of Pettis is naturally going to find home a lot easier because they are in opposite stances. And Wonderboy's side kick is a very important thing to look at in this fight, because it's the way he throws it. When he throws it, he doesn't retract it back. It isn't so much of a taekwondo technique, the way he utilizes it. He doesn't extend quick and retract, which you see a lot of taekwondo fighters use. When he throws a side kick, he kind of throws it out and stomps it down. Now, there's a lot of power, but there's a long retraction time, and there's a big opening if he misses. And you saw a few times in the fight, Anthony Pettis getting very close with that right hand. And I believe a lot of people were missing Anthony Pettis constantly moving in for that right hand whenever Wonderboy threw the side kick. Specifically twice in the fight, once in the first round and once in the second round, a little bit before the knockout. And what do you notice about the defense or the retraction of Stephen Thompson whenever Anthony Pettis came in with that right hand? Almost the same thing as a knockout. Now, it wasn't as drastic. He didn't cause himself to be as open as he was in the knockout sequence because of other factors involved. One being that he's in the center of the cage or he's moving back rather than him pushing Pettis back and trying to be a little bit more of the aggressor in the knockout sequence, which caused him to extend a little bit more forward. But here he has more of a sense to get away from Pettis. But what you notice is he always brings his right foot back first before his left foot. And that is the opposite of what you want to do. Whichever way you're moving, the leg on that side is the one that has to move first if you want to get away efficiently and safely. So in this case, if you're moving back in southpaw, you want to move your left foot back first and then following your right foot afterward. If you're moving forward, you want to move your right foot forward first before your left foot. Now, if you do the opposite, in this case like Stephen Thompson is, he's bringing his right foot back first before his left foot, he's not really going anywhere, right? He has to move the left foot to really get anywhere, or he switches stances completely backwards, which is a big movement that needs a lot of time. And seeing Wonderboy do this was quite shocking. He did it more than 3 times in the fight. Even when Wonderboy wasn't even throwing the side kick, it was still the same thing. The defense was still there. And even one time in the first round, 1 minute and 10 seconds left of the round, Pettis actually touched Wonderboy with the right hand because of this. He just didn't cover enough distance. Notice the difference between this and the knockout. The knockout, he threw a Superman punch and launched himself forward. With this right hand, he kind of just planted and threw it from where he was at. He didn't really move forward that much. If he threw the Superman punch right here, he would have caught Wonderboy again. And it's actually kind of funny in this sequence right here. He almost throws a Superman punch, but he just doesn't launch himself. You can see with this right leg, he created that same momentum. But you can see Wonderboy moves his right foot back first, and you can see his upper body isn't moving anywhere. It's just his right leg that's moving back. And that is why he's still in distance. And now let's look at the knockout. So this time is a little bit different because Pettis is against the cage and Wonderboy's walking him down. Wonderboy's the aggressor. He's the pressuring fighter. He's more so on the attack. So he goes in, throws a left straight, which he's been looking for the whole fight. He's always moving to his right, getting the outside foot advantage to land that left hand. And he's also trying to get a little bit further away from the power side of Pettis. And Pettis really just covers up. He doesn't really move his head too much. Now here's the side kick. And Wonderboy, being on the offense a little bit more, he actually pendulum steps or brings his left foot further forward to create momentum. Look how far forward he brings his left foot to thrust in this side kick with full power. He gets in really close on Pettis. He's in punching range right here. And he throws a side kick and it doesn't land completely clean. It lands clean enough to get Pettis to move back a little bit. But because he doesn't land full on, he has nothing to kick off from. So his kick follows all the way through and creates a long retraction time. And remember, he always stomps on the ground after his side kicks, which again lengthens that retraction time. And Pettis goes into the cage and rebounds off it. He hits the cage and bounces off it and goes for the Superman punch. Now, here is a crucial moment. Notice Wonderboy's footwork, just his footwork here. So he lands with his right foot, and he has a lot of weight on his right foot because of that. So what he does is, he actually moves his left foot. He steps with his left foot to his own left a little bit, and what that means is now he's putting weight on his left foot, which means he has to move his right foot. It's very hard to move a leg that you have weight on. If you're leaning on one leg, it's extremely hard to move that leg, right? It usually is you moving the other leg. So in this case, he put all of his weight on his left foot, and now he has to move his right leg. And knowing Wonderboy, his defense is usually just footwork. He doesn't use that much head movement, and his chin is always open. He never puts his hands up. So if you're able to get to a karate fighter or a taekwondo fighter or someone who keeps his hands really low and just uses movement to get away from shots, and you connect on them, it's almost always more devastating than connecting on other fighters. And unlike before, where Pettis just reached out with the right hand, he goes for the Superman punch to cover a lot more distance, and here goes Wonderboy bringing back his right leg. Notice how he barely moves. Notice how his entire body barely moves, and he gets caught flush. Now he is going for the check right hook, but he's almost completely in the air when he's throwing it. There's almost no power in this. It was just an ill-advised move. Gets knocked out cold because of it. Great win for Anthony Pettis, catching Wonderboy and finding that opening throughout the fight. Wonderboy showing that opening, which I think a lot of people have missed, and just chalk this up to that Anthony Pettis practically got lucky in the fight. He landed this shot. But Wonderboy was making the same mistake more than 3 times in the fight. So if you make the same mistake more than 3 times in a 2-round fight, that is a lot of times to make that same mistake. And how do fights end? One fighter makes a mistake, one fighter capitalizes. Yes, Wonderboy was winning the fight. Yes, he showed to be technically the better striker overall. But landing that final blow, it goes to Anthony Pettis. He found the opening, and that's a wrap. So great win for Anthony Pettis. Makes the welterweight rankings a little bit murky because Pettis is probably going to be a top 5 or top 7 fighter in this division. And I don't know if he's going to stay in the division, so it's a little bit weird. And I believe this does a lot of damage to the narrative about size differences and how much it actually affects fights. We've seen too many evidence of smaller fighters beating bigger fighters, and actually it's more evident than the contrary. So great for Anthony Pettis to do a lot of damage to that narrative. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. My next video is going to be the podcast, so be looking for that. It's probably going to come out by tonight or tomorrow. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.